about experiments, right? There are a lot of concepts and technicalities involved. There is this problem of, peaking, right? If you would like to, briefly explain to our viewers, what is this peaking problem and how can people avoid it?
Sure. Uh, there are basically two ways of doing an experiment. Well, there are thousands of ways of doing an experiment, but let's go to the traditional framework. You can go there to your Python or R and calculate, okay, if the effect I'm trying to measure is of this size, uh, how many people I need in the whole experiment to be able to measure this difference between the two groups, doing a power calculation,
Mhm.
okay? And there is this fixed sample approach in which I calculate like I need 100,000 people. And then I launch the experiment and I let it, and I wait for it to achieve 100,000 people in the audience. And then I measure the effects of this intervention between those two groups. But if Venkat is my stakeholder and he is really anxious because he promised to his boss that this feature that he came up with is going to be revolutionary, Venkat is going to send an email, a Slack message to me every day asking, hey, can you check the effect for today? I'm going to say, hey, Venkat, we launched the experiment yesterday. Should I be looking at the result? I said, yeah, okay. And tomorrow we do the same. And we do the same. And to the point that I say, okay, I'm going to build a dashboard for us to check the results every day. The problem with this is that you are testing different hypotheses separately for the same process without adjusting for the fact that it's basically coming from the same data, but you are trying and trying again at your will up to the point that for chance, it could be that a positive result that pleases Venkat appears and he says, see, I told you that this was a great feature. So we don't need more experience, just kill it, and I'm going to report this last result. And Venkat just did something that pleases stakeholders and everyone, but that is statistically wrong because we had to account for the fact that those were repeated tests, right? So basically, this is picking, and this is the problem of picking. Picking is trying to check along the way. And to solve picking, fortunately, it's not a practice that we developed here, but the platform, I'm not going to take credit for it. The platform existed before I came in, called Melidata. We have excellent data scientists and data engineers. They created a platform that Robson and Venkat are not going to be able to launch their own experiment the way they want. They are going to be able to set parameters like I need to check this KPI, this is the size of effect I expect, and so on. The platform made by statisticians and data scientists is going to design the experiment and run it using something that we call sequential testing. Sequential testing does basically what Venkat proposed, but taking care of the fact that looking today, testing today, looking tomorrow, testing tomorrow, you can take every test that you did, but you have to correct for the fact that they were made together. And there are some margins, like some thresholds that, yes, if the result that Venkat said was the best just was above this threshold, then it's valid because we are confident enough that this result is not because we are picking. It's more robust to the fact that we checked in several days. And this platform already experiments it, or already implements this. But also, the platform can't do every type of experiment. For instance, I needed to design myself with a partner an experiment that, well, if someone has a bad experience in the platform, this guy got a broken package and wrote a bad review, this guy should receive a reward. And we needed to experiment it. And we need to experiment it for several months, like 3 months or more. The platform didn't allow for that. And I couldn't build a sequential testing algorithm myself. So you can go back to the fixed sample approach, that is the traditional one, and say, hey, Venkat, shake my hand and agree that we are not going to pick. We are just going to see at the end of the defined period that we calculated how the results are going to be. So those two approaches, they avoid the problem of picking.